Night, Season 6, Episode 20, where we watch Tough as Nails, Season 3, Episode 1. Welcome to the Blue Collar Pod. I'm Chris Lorenz.
Ivan Etniaj. This is Brian.
I'm Harrison, and I'm putting up the 305 tent.
I'm Annabeth. They call me a Jill of all trades.
No, I'm stuck in a sand pit. Singer.
Welcome. If this is your first time joining us, we watch a different reality show each week, discussing a minute detail, figuring out if it's good or bad. Harrison, what do you got for us?
Tough as Nails is a competition series that celebrates everyday Americans who roll up their sleeves and don't think twice about working long, hard hours and getting their hands dirty. Competitors who consider the calluses on their hands a badge of honor will be tested for their strength, endurance, life skills, and most importantly, mental toughness in challenges that take place at real-world job sites. That's Tough as Nails on CBS.
I got two things about this. One, who has calluses on their hands? I used to, but man.
I do not.
Oh, look at Brian.
Wait, I definitely do.
oh.
Playing guitar, though.
No, I guess like both. Like get the weights, get the guitar, done.
You're hitting the weights that much now?
You gotta.
That's good, man. That's good. Harrison, Annabeth?
Nah, not a lot of calluses over here, unfortunately.
When I climb regularly, I get some calluses.
Whereabouts, though? Where do climbing calluses come
You
in?
get them like at the top of your palm.
Oh, so same as going to the gym, yeah.
Yeah. Me and Brian lifting heavy, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Pre-COVID, gym, same thing. Second thing, you said these people don't think twice, per the show description. I would imagine they think twice.
I disagree with that. Like they just roll into it. They don't care. They're getting it done.
They
Every
roll up their
day-
sleeves.
They wake up at 5 a.m., busting their ass, hard-ass jobs. You don't think they think twice?
They're tough as nails. They don't think
Mm.
twice.
All right. Well, before we get too deep into this, we got some catch up from last week.
Ooh.
We watched, what did we watch? Bridalplasty.
Oh, no.
And
Yeah.
we had a poll on Twitter. So this week there will also be a poll on Twitter. Go vote in the poll. We got a bottom third show from the audience for Bridalplasty. Very shocking. It's a very shocking poll result.
Good job, audience.
Yeah, thank you, audience.
Also, check out our TikTok on Bridalplasty. It's on Who Put This On podcast. And please write us on iTunes. All right, move back to Tough as Nails. So the show is essentially just like a blue collar competition show where they take a bunch of blue collar workers like carpenters and construction workers and Jill of all trades and stick them in some sort of like weird like blue collar job-ish kind of competition. And this week was the military episode brought to you by the military.
The U.S.
Yeah.
Marines.
The Marines.
Yes, to be specific.
I was going to say Marines and then it just went whoop.
Okay, so wait. So that's not the constant theme throughout the show.
It doesn't seem so. I haven't seen any more episodes, but like this time on seemed like might have been some military stuff, but it did seem to be the focus of a lot of the challenges.
Agree. Like the preview of the season seemed like there was farming, then boating, then construction, right? A whole bunch of
That's fair.
different stuff.
Okay, I'm more okay with this show now.
Yeah, because this episode's a little rough. It's like it's a commercial for the military at this point. They're like, so we'll get into it, but they have like cool vehicles and they've got like, a lot of veteran like positive things and just like being cool to be in the Marines.
Yes, I would say sometimes other shows might go much more overt. I think that it did a good job being subtle and not too in your face.
I think the military has done a better job in the last decade or so to like push themselves in like a subtle way and not like a we need you kind of posters. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like when Michael Bay makes a Transformers movie, like they give him all the military helicopters for the thing to kind of promote it in a more subtle way.
Yeah. Which is the
Super
same-
subtle.
Same
Oh,
thing
yeah.
here.
So
This one's less subtle than that.
but Chris, when you
Yeah, Transformers is not that. It's very subtle. This is extremely like in your face.
Mhm.
Yeah.
when you were a kid, Chris, you had those Uncle Sam posters at your school.
Oh, I have one in my bedroom.
That's wow. They came to your bedroom and you still didn't join.
Yeah. That was a tough sell. It was a
Man,
tough sell.
clearly.
All right. So let's talk about Let's talk about the format of the show, I guess. Let's talk about, so they have a challenge 1 that's individual. So then the winners of challenge 1 became like leaders, captains, and picked 2 teams. So it seems like this whole show is like a team-based challenges, 6 versus 6. People don't get eliminated. It seems
It didn't seem like it in like previewing the season because that would give away a lot of spoilers, right?
Well, it
didn't
did
seem like
say that they don't get eliminated.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
host says they won't get eliminated, but then I don't understand what the mechanics going to be for the one winner at the end.
I think that there's 2 phases to the competition. There's a bunch of team challenges where there's some kind of a cash prize for it, and like so this one they had like a team challenge was 15 grand.
Yeah, so after the individual, there was a team challenge.
Exactly. So there's one for 15 grand. Whatever team wins it gets to split that money. I think there's a bunch of those, and then at the end, I think after they're done with all the team competitions, there's some kind of an individual segment where they're competing for 200,000, 300,000,
Yeah.
200,000 and a truck.
and a heavy duty.
Quick correction before the Twitter patrol gets to us. It was 12,000.
Oh, okay. Okay.
challenge.
The Twitter
Thanks,
patrol.
Get it right, Harrison.
Come on.
So looking on Wikipedia for spoilers, there is some kind of elimination.
Okay.
Even like episode 2,
Hmm.
I think.
Well-
so why did the host lie to us?
Great question.
It does seem like that the host doesn't really tee up this new season with a lot of information about the show. It seems pretty assumed that you have watched all seasons
They're not
of
trying
Tough
to
as
pull
Nails.
new people in on this.
No.
I feel like we're running out of path though. Can someone tell us about the host? Like, who is this guy? Why is he here? What does he do?
He's the guy. He's Phil Kogan. Kogan?
Kagan, maybe?
Kagan?
Take it.
I'm looking at it written down. He never said his name.
Is this the guy who's on Modern Family?
no,
dad?
No.
This is
No?
the Amazing Race host.
Ah, okay.
And he's hosting this show now. But in this show, he actually has to do things.
Yeah,
Whereas in
he's
the Amazing Race, he's just like at the end, and he's like you are safe or you are eliminated or something. I forget what his catchphrase is.
Yeah, he's trying to do his best Jeff Probst impression here.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Oh,
Well, let's just talk about the host. Let's just finish it. He's
Phil.
terrible. He's so bad at this. He cannot do play-by-play, and it's hard to tell he can't do it because the editors made him like ADR in lines, or like he didn't say anything during it, or it's hard to tell who's winning in these races, kind of.
Yeah, he's trying to keep it going. He's talking to Murph, the winner that they've brought back.
Mhm.
It's pretty awkward. There's not a lot of like banter, and the things he says are like really obvious. There's not a lot of like commentary.
I mean, for me, I think so. I actually like him as the host of The Amazing Race. I think he actually does a great job with The Amazing Race.
But he doesn't have a whole lot to do in
For
that
sure.
show.
I think he adds some nice color. He has some good banter with the people. But I think he's good for that show. For this show, I think there's 2 problems. Like, one, he's not that great at the actual challenge play-by-play and like calling the action of the challenge that's going on, who Jeff Probst is kind of like the master of. And then the other problem is like he doesn't really come off as a super tough guy to me. Like I feel like Tough
No.
as Nails. Like you want the host to personify.
You want Dwayne Johnson.
Well, you want the fucking Rock. You want them to personify what Tough as Nails is.
I mean,
No offense to Phil, because I'm not saying I'm tough as nails, but I'm also not the host of this show.
Yeah, I couldn't be host of this show.
No.
Yeah, I agree with you. He is a weird fit for this, but I think he's the host because I think this is his show.
Oh,
Like I think he's like a producer kind of like thing for this show. Like,
Yeah, he's an executive producer. I mean, he was the first credit that came up at the end.
Mm.
he pitches the show and like he owns the show, so he obviously wants to be the host.
But if he owns the show, he also wants it to succeed, and he's got to recognize, be like, oh man,
Yeah, but some people just want to be the famous person in the room, Noah.
that's true too.
Like some people aren't just about the money, okay? Mr. Noah Singer over here.
It's odd to be about the money.
I'm just saying, not everyone needs to be. Things has to be. He could be executive producer of other reality TVs. We just don't know. But now we do because he's on the TV.
This
Well-
guy's already made his money from 40 seasons of The Amazing Race. This is a glory. This project is for the glory.
A passion project.
This is for him to be the executive producer of a show, which I'm sure he wants to be. Like, and he wants to be the host of said show.
I don't know.
That's-
So he's from New Zealand. I feel like in general, people from New Zealand. This is
What,
stereotyping.
that they're
Oh.
capitalists.
We got some hot takes coming in.
Oh, I don't
No,
know if you should say this.
That they are pretty humble. You know, they're gonna stay
Nice
like
recovery.
right. There wasn't no recovery. I was gonna say. Then you guys just start shoving words like
I mean,
you know-
we gotta show.
like
words.
our main reference points fly to the Concords. You know, we have Jermaine and it's like Murray, and they're not. You know, they're not really on the front.
Yeah,
they're
I
pretty
think-
timid.
I think you just insulted all New Zealanders.
I think I gave them a lot of credit for being good people.
All right. We're gonna move on.
I
from
think we
this.
should talk more about fly to the Concords. To be honest.
What would you say? This is an upgrade, downgrade, or apex for our host here?
Apex, because I mean, he's now hosting his own show. Even if like Amazing Race was like super good,
But I think Amazing Race just has way more viewers than this.
Amazing
Right, but
Race
he's-
has won a ton of Emmys. Like, I mean,
right? But that's an established empire. He's starting his new thing now. This is on season 3. I think it's pretty successful. I think this is Apex.
Ooh, I don't think Apex.
Like
Amazing Race is so good.
It is, but I still got to give him
It
credit
is,
for like,
I
doing
mean,
this.
it is. It's going from hosting a show to executive producer of his own show.
yeah.
I mean, I'd have to say that that's like your apex. Whether that is that make you is that like your most popular thing?
Well, I mean, I think that
Like, no.
because he's doing both of them, it's like he's still hosting Amazing Race and he's executive producing the show. Like, he's at the height of his powers, either now or when he
Yeah.
got this show greenlit 3 seasons ago.
I didn't even know that he was still hosting that. I figured he stepped away, but no, if he's just doing both.
You can't step away from a job like that, Brian. Are you insane?
That's the best job ever, maybe.
Right.
Dude, the jobs where you're hosting a show are this. You're so good. If you get
It's-
a hosting job for a game show, you never fucking leave that. Like, you
I-
just like, you
It-
work like one day every month and you just paying you bank.
If I get that, I'm definitely staying because there's no way. in hell I should-
So I'm pretty impressed with this guy. Like, first he's from New Zealand, and so
Hey, that's a
As we
pretty
know.
big hill to climb there.
no to be like from New Zealand, and then to be like a major, not major, but like a celebrity in the United States. That's pretty difficult, right? Like, obviously you don't have connections. Like,
Whoa. With this, what level of celebrity are we talking about? Would you consider him A, B, C, D, or E or F?
hey, it's gonna be primo cameo, dude.
Yeah, how much is the man's cameo?
Oh, I should look.
second, he's been involved, according to his Wikipedia, with 10 Emmys. 10, pretty good.
For the Amazing Race, right?
Probably.
Okay.
Lastly, he's a pretty big cyclist, so that is his tough as nails cred.
That's not a blue collar job. Being
no,
a
but
cyclist.
you got to be, in shape like the people on the show. He's in shape.
There's people on the show aren't on the show because they're in shape.
I mean, it's
They're-
kind of like a,
They're in the show
Forget that.
because they're blue collar workers.
but they're also in shape.
yeah, I mean that was probably another requirement we'd be on the show, but not
Yeah.
like the whole. It's not the resin. It's not like the definition of the show. It's not like what it's about.
Well, they
Whereas
go
I bet-
together.
Mm.
Everybody's job is something that would require you to do a lot of labor that would get you in shape.
Yeah.
So,
These people are like incredibly strong because
Yes.
of their jobs. Like,
I there are people in these jobs that aren't necessarily in shape. I think they found people that aren't in shape with these jobs, and these jobs generally lead that way.
yeah.
But I think it's worth calling out. Like, these people are in very good shape.
And like I think the other thing is like it's not like the challenge or something where like the main thing is like being in shape. Like it's being in shape plus having a bunch of knowledge about how to do a bunch of stuff. It's like
Mhm.
fixing cars, building stuff, like what, and just a whole bunch of stuff that you might need to do.
Well, before we move on, do we consider it a down apex? What was the consensus? here?
Apex.
Apex.
I think it's
Okay.
Apex.
All right, that's consensus, right?
Annabeth doesn't look convinced, but like,
I just don't know. I just I hadn't heard of this show, and
Well,
I mean, Amazing Race has been around forever. Super amazing show. Like, for that reason, I'm not sure if this show is Apex. I don't say it's downgrade, but I think it's kind of like, he's holding
Same
steady.
Same level.
Same level, but it's
All
not. I don't think this is Apex more than Amazing Race was.
But
I
for
think
your
that-
career, and you're like, well, I was the host of this reality TV show for 20 years, or I executive produced a show. I pitched it to execution that's way better.
But it
Like, for
matters what
Korea.
the show is.
I agree that
It
about
totally matters what the show is. Because
Oh, yeah.
if it was this man telling me this, I'd be like, amazing race for 20 years, incredible. And then I'd be like, oh, that executive produced thing's cool too.
I think that you have to evaluate the Apex as a point in time in their career, and so because he is executive producing this while he is still holding down the Amazing Race host job, I think it has to be the Apex.
Noah, what do you say?
I'm with Amazing Race is very well known. You can go to anyone on the street, they will know what the Amazing Race is. 2 hosts that, and the 10 Emmys, that is clearly the Apex. This has ways to go.
So you think this is a downgrade?
Yes.
Okay.
Very
Right.
clear cut. Like, not even debatable. Surprised you're debating it.
Well, we are.
I'm just saying.
Tweet at us if you have an opinion.
All right, we
Okay.
got 3 versus 2.
Yeah, let's get the poll up.
So tweet at us. Let us know what you think. All
2 polls this week, everyone.
Polls.
Get ready for it.
right. So let's talk about the location of these challenges. We kind of talked about it. It's at Camp Pendleton, which is in California between LA and San Diego.
Mhm.
And it's a Marine base. And they show a lot of like Marine stock footage.
They said if you've ever seen a shot or video of Marines training, this is where it is. That's what they said. I don't know if it's true. That's just what they said.
Debatable.
Debatable.
One thing to note is we'll get into this first challenge. So the first challenge is teed up by like they have these planes go by and like drop some stuff off the back, like some package, and they pretend like this challenge is set up by these airplanes dropping like there's 12 contestants, 12 different packages in a neat line. Like to compete against, and it's just ludicrous.
No one knows.
I had to point out to people in this room that obviously this is not what happened.
Definitely not.
Here's the thing. Like all those the finals placements were so close together that like if you drop them out of a plane like that, those parachutes are
Oh
done. Like
yeah, this is just not happening.
The Marines.
This is true. Also, they were pretty close to the people on the beach. I was like, man, that plane got to get it right.
yeah, can you imagine if you're just on this game show and you're like, oh shit, that thing's coming for me. You gotta run.
This flying ATV from the sky.
Just like the ludicrousness of this stuff.
In the shot where they were dropping out of the plane, thinking back, it looked like they were kind of over some farm country, maybe too, but they were on the beach in the scene.
It's some
so-
stock footage of something. It was just
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
but they do like a really hard cut that makes it like you don't really think about it that much. But as soon as you're like, wait, what? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there's just no way.
They got some B-roll from Pearl Harbor and stuck it in.
I was just gonna say from like advertisements, but okay.
The real Pearl Harbor or the 2003 movie,
Ben Affleck.
the Ben Affleck movie?
Oh yeah, Ben Affleck.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
just checking.
Thank you for fact checking.
All right, so we got 12 contestants. They have to take this package, which has like I don't know, a bunch of crap in it. It's got an ATV, and it's got a like cart. So you have to put the bunch of the. They have to build the cart. They have to put all the shit on the cart, and then they need to drive the ATV to like an endpoint.
It's a trailer tow, so the cart, has a trailer hitch.
It's a cart.
But the trailer tow is very critical to this challenge. Like this is
Well, when I say cart, like what do people? What do you think?
The key thing is that the ATV's dragging the cart.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I think of cart, I think of like the red flyer wagon.
Yeah, me too.
but if I
What?
say I attach a cart to a car, like you thinking?
But
What are you
you didn't
thinking?
specify attaching. You just said they dropped the cart in an ATV.
Okay.
there was no connection point.
All right. Whatever.
$12,000.
Yeah, the Twitter patrol is gonna get on us.
We gotta get it right.
Trying to protect.
Tweet at us if you have problems, okay?
When Phil listens to this, as we bash his show and his country.
I was not bashing his country.
That's such a hill, such a beef from New Zealand.
Man, I like New Zealand.
All right. So they do this challenge, and there's a couple. They make the end of this challenge is actually kind of interesting they have so there's some tension and drama made with this challenge where like one guy like got stuck in the sand for so long. So like he was in the lead and like he's going a little slow, I guess not to drop stuff, all the crap off his trailer.
Here we go.
Ah!
His trailer cart. Anyway, and he gets stuck. He like digs himself a giant hole and it takes him forever to get out.
Mm-hmm.
But he eventually does actually get out, come in second. His name is Mike. But he wasn't the only one that got stuck in the sand. Because for some reason, they like this end zone here. They just like, when somebody gets there, they just let him just stay there. And so everyone's just in the way. So people can't just like go like 10 miles an hour on this sand to get there. So they have to like go like 5 and obviously then they get stuck. And then people have to come out and push their ATVs.
It's it's like there's a quicksand right before the finish line. It ends up feeling like.
There doesn't seem to be any benefit or like detriment going like getting 3rd or 12th.
Now, there's no stakes
No.
after the first 2 were determined.
But I don't think they were aware of that.
Well, I think they were. I think it was just
they?
like I think you had to finish, and that was like the only information that the captains would have about where to pick you. That's kind of what I thought it was.
So it's more your prowess.
Yeah,
It was an interview to get picked.
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's no
But there was no like
there's no
repercussion.
detriment from getting
Yeah.
picked last other than your pride.
No. I think gotta dive into a bit of the minutia on the challenge. So yes, cart and the ATV get dropped out of the airplane, but they
Don't get dropped out of an airplane. Do not say they get
So-
placed gently.
They get placed gently by the caress of their bum on the sand, but they're not fully assembled. And so this challenge is a lot of mechanical work, of tightening bolts, putting things together, and it does not look easy.
It is not like something I would roll up to that and I would take it back because I've never like gone through and built a cart before. Like it was just like, oh, there's a lot more of like me trying to figure out what's going on, and I think that's the point of the show is that the people on this show have done similar things to this way more often than we have. So they're like much more equipped to like being and putting together a cart and like getting an ATV ready to go, right?
Yeah. This is where I needed that better narration, perhaps, from a host. Because, like, I didn't really understand everything that you had to do to get this thing running.
Definitely not, especially compared to the second challenge. The second challenge, they put all the budget on the infographic, which we'll get into. But on this challenge, it would have been really nice to have an infographic. Like, here are all the parts that they have to put together, and this one's difficult, and here's why, and here's how much torque it's going to take to tighten this up. And,
Yeah.
that would have been nice, and we had no idea what's happening. We're just seeing him construct things. And it's like, what is going on?
Yeah, I agree with you. The host is taking things away. It's detrimental. Saying garbage. Doesn't matter what he says. But the cameramen also kind of suck. Like there's no like good shots of like what like it's a competition. There's a lot of shots of one person.
Mm-hmm.
There's like one shot of like 2 people going up at the same time because they were going up at the same time. That's it. You never get to see 2 people in like side by sides or like in the same video. You have no idea how well one person is doing against another person.
I have a feeling that's like mostly editing though. I feel like they recorded it and then they saw it and it's like, oh, this does not paint people in a positive light. So we can't just like do side by side.
I don't know. I mean, it's a challenge between people and it's supposed to be entertaining to me. And I didn't get the sense of any competition, really.
It is, but like at the same time, like we look at like the second competition, which we'll get into, and we see how that was faring, and it's like, well, you can't compare those 2 either.
No, I know. It's a general like issue of this episode of the TV show for me is like figuring out what the challenge is and how they are competing against each other and who is winning and losing is done super poorly.
I need some like drone shots where I see like people moving towards the finish line and people stuck on the beach,
or
like
a helicopter shot. You know, you're at Pendleton and get the helicopter.
Yeah, it's sort of one of the problems with the challenge is like just the editing, the way that they shoot some of these things are kind of designed for drama and whatever, as opposed to actually showing you what the competition is.
this is also where I think Survivor does like such a good job because
Totally.
I mean they'll have a challenge, but at the end of the challenge will be some sort of like equalizer of some kind where like you're just doing a puzzle that takes like twice or 3 times as long as a challenge. And so like you get to see both teams at the end generally, like 90% of the time, 95% of the time. So
Yeah.
like, whereas like if you don't make the challenges where there's like some place to catch up with people or like gates where people could be at, it just ends up being like this where like somebody could just be there 10 minutes beforehand and there's nothing you could do about it. There's no competition at that point, right?
Yeah.
So you could blame the editing, you could blame the producing for like, you know, designing this challenge because I think both these challenges were designed pretty poorly.
Yeah, I mean, for viewing it, like I thought that they were cool challenges, but for viewing, I don't think they were designed super well.
They're like, we described the challenge to you and like, oh, that's kind of cool. Especially the second challenge, I think is like, oh, I could see where in the writing room that comes like off really well. But I think we'll have to get right into it. But I think that if they just ordered things, I think that would have made that challenge so much better.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think what I also needed was like you need sort of a voiceover of someone who did the challenge, like explaining what happened to them and like what the problem was and what the strategy was.
Yeah,
Because you never really get any of that. Like this, we'll talk about what the second challenge is, but there's a lot of strategy in how you would approach it, and we don't really get it from anyone on the team.
There's no good like interviews like that with people, talking heads at all in this show.
We did get like one
There's
sense
one.
of it, but like that's it.
Which we can talk about now is like one of the interesting drama that they had in this first challenge was one person couldn't figure out how to get their ATV in neutral.
Alfie.
Yeah. And like, it was interesting because he was near the end and he should have been. There was a bunch of interviews where he was like embarrassed because he couldn't find neutral.
But that's interesting because if he had not told me that, I would have no idea what's
Yeah.
happening with that ATV. I know nothing.
But like,
Zero.
yeah, the rest of the show is like showing you shots of things of people doing stuff. And you're like, what are they trying to do? Like,
No
I don't know,
idea.
like, no idea.
No idea.
What really
Are they
is
doing
this
okay?
challenge?
I don't know.
Like, what is hard about this challenge other than that shit's heavy?
Yeah.
All right, let's. Well, we know Mike and Leah won, so we had a women win. They picked 2 teams. We're not going to go over all the people.
Nope.
None of them. I have like one note for one person, so it's like not worth it.
I only like looked up this on Wikipedia just to figure out the teams. Like,
Oh yeah, I looked it up on Wikipedia. too.
They don't go to great lengths to try to build up the characters. Like 1 or 2 of them, they start going into a little backstory, but it's not very memorable how they tell it.
that's gonna happen more though. Like they did a sufficient job in like covering like small portion, and then next time another digestible portion.
Yeah, you got to go for the long run on something like this. There's a lot more challenge. There's a lot more challenges. You don't have even less time to talk about people. Whereas like when we're doing a love show and they can only introduce like 6 people, like
Yeah, that's fair.
you know,
And then they fall through a trap door. You don't care anymore.
One thing to note is that Leah is the Jill of all trades, which when we're watching the show, like the traditional term is Jack of all trades, right? And then you go to Jill of all trades, and I'm like, why are you gonna go right from a sexist term to another sexist term?
Yeah,
Which I like it.
I don't know.
Why not just a non-sexist one? So both of the like men and women could be like.
Well, what would that be?
I don't know.
Like I've heard this term many times before.
I've
It did
never
not throw
heard
me a
it.
curveball.
I'm not saying it's throwing a curveball.
I
But
feel like it
Jill-
did. Otherwise,
Jill
it would just brush
Trades
over your head.
Is
Like, yeah.
obviously like a female version of Jack of all trades.
But she's a
Mhm.
female.
I know, and I'm just saying that it would have been better to go with a non-sexist term, right?
I don't think it's sexist though.
But then why change it from Jack?
Because
it's a guy's name.
Yeah, it's conforming to her identity and who she is. Like I
I'm
don't
just
really
saying-
understand. Like
I'm just saying it would have been. I think you had to make it non-gender, make a non-gendered version of Jack of all trades.
but she didn't choose that Jack of all trades was gendered. That was
yeah, but she did choose the Jill.
I just don't know if there's another good English term for what this is that's as recognizable that she can throw in there.
like She could have said a Renaissance woman, but have you been mad because she's not a Renaissance man?
No, because Renaissance man isn't a term.
It isn't.
Yeah, it is.
It-
Renaissance man's totally a term.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. I was just then Renaissance person. I don't care. I'm just making a comment that I think it would have been better.
Person of all trades.
I got one. Jamie.
Jimmy?
Jamie. of all trades.
Jamie.
Jamie.
Jamie. Ooh.
Jamie.
Oh wait, no. I think Jackie.
All right.
Because right.
What about Leah of all trades? Her name's Leah. Like, we'd get it.
Ah, it's not as good.
That's weird.
Are you a Chris of all trades?
Hey,
I-
I'm not, but I could be.
I did think about going with Brian of all trades for my equip, but
Oh, that would've been good.
It'd be
Oh,
coming
yeah.
back around now.
All right, let's move in. Well, I guess there's one minor minutia about the backyard pick here between teams. The bottom two were the two women of color, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign. I'm just pointing it out.
Well, one of them was the last person to finish the
Sure.
challenge. Totally makes sense.
One of them was.
One of them was.
Mhm.
The other one, I guess, was also smaller. I was kind of wondering with the draft though. Like it seems like if these challenges are big physical carrying things, like you'd be picking the men.
So they didn't say it, but I think that they made them pick guy girl because they were picking
Mm.
alternating, and then they had two women at the end. But I'm not 100% because like they didn't say it, but it kind of went that way.
Okay,
a lot of hidden rules in these.
there
Yeah.
might have been a hidden rule in this one.
There
For
might have been.
sure.
There might have been.
We also, Chris, you have to say what the team names are. This is some good stuff.
What are the team names? You telling me the two.
Okay, the team names are Dirty Hands
Dead Hands.
and Savage Crew. And it seems like they didn't get to pick those names specifically. Those might be like enduring names every
They are,
season.
They're
Okay.
every season. These are
Oh.
the names, and the first person got to pick if they were Dirty Hands or Savage, whatever.
Wait,
Savage
why,
Crew.
Why would you go with not Savage Crew?
Yeah, obviously you want to be the savage. Like savages, but savage is like a millennial term. Like it's not a Gen Z term. A lot of these people aren't in like that demographic.
No, I just don't care. Like Savage is just more like tough than
Totally.
just dirty hands.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dirty Hands. I'm all in on Dirty Hands.
But it's like work ethic. It's like we're not savage. We're gonna get our hands dirty. We're gonna win this challenge. Whereas like we're gonna be savage. We're gonna the best. Like we're gonna have all these savage moments. It's just like I could see why you'd pick Dirty Hands, but I'd obviously go Savage.
Well, do you think these are like the team names that the first captains chose, and then
No,
the
if
show
you
was
came
like,
in-
we got this?
you came first. You got to pick.
No, I know, but like the season 1, episode 1.
Oh,
Do you
I
think
have no
do you
idea.
think the first ever captains chose these names, and the producers Phil was like, those are amazing. We're keeping them forever, even though they kind of sound weird together.
They definitely don't.
They're
there's
like
no
a different
synergy.
vibe.
There's no synergy.
I mean, they also have like a huge respect for like the history of the show. Like the guest star of this was the winner of season 1.
Murph,
Yeah. So
Whoa, spoilers.
sorry.
Spoiler for season 1.
So it's cool that like they have like a strong like connection with the show, but I do think that like they started it, but I don't know if they just picked the name like if the producers picked the names or if the team captains picked the names.
All right, quickly. Savage or Dirty Hands, Brian
Savage.
Harrison.
Ooh, I think it's gonna have to be Dirty Hands.
What? What?
Oh, Team Dirty Hands, baby.
What?
Noah.
Savage. Easy.
All right, Savage. There
We're
we
getting
go.
those hands dirty.
Dirty Hands.
Yeah.
You don't want to see these dirty hands coming after you.
Sounds like the scary movie, like my strong arm.
Oh, yeah.
Dirty Hands.
All right, let's-
Savage Crew's trying too hard. That's my take.
That's fine. Let's move on to challenge number 2 here. We've talked about this for too much already. Let's talk about challenge number 2. So here's a team-based challenge. Seems like it's going to be team-based for a while. Unclear how long it's going to be team-based. We'll get into that after this. But so their challenge is similar to the previous challenge. challenge where the drop came off a ship. This time the drop came off I forget what they called it, some sort of
It's like a
hovercraft.
some sort of hovercraft, military hovercraft, and it's like a much bigger package. And in this package, there's a tent, so they have to set up the tent in a specific direction. They have to set up a perimeter, which involves putting these stakes in the ground and then putting barbed wire around all these stakes. They have to repair a Humvee. Then they have to put supplies on pallets. Then once all of that is done, they can raise a flag, the American flag, and then they have to drive the Humvee off their like prepared area or whatever. So that's the whole challenge.
And they can do these things in any order they want to.
Until they have to
basically-
raise a flag.
Right.
All
the flag
that stuff has to
the
be done before you can raise the flag. Once you raise the flag, then you can drive the Humvee
Right.
with the stuff in the back.
It's a lot of
another,
steps.
There's another cart on the Humvee. So
Cart.
Always hauling shit.
you gotta be hauling stuff around.
That's what I learned about the Marines today.
I'm always loving these carts. So, like, there's as we talked about, we kind of hinted at, is like it was very hard to tell what team was winning because each team was doing something in a different order. So, like, Team A, like, everyone got everything out of the tent or this like supply drop first, and then Team A put up a tent. Team B did like things in like they had people doing each job first, and they were going to come back and do the tent. So they were putting up the perimeter and fixing the Humvees and like doing other stuff. And I don't even know what the fuck order that anyone did anything in. It was just nonsensical.
It was weird. Like that was the only time where anybody described the sense of strategy where somebody said, "Hey, like we're all going to do these individual tasks, kind of like or together, and then we're all going to come together at the end for the tent." And that makes a lot of sense because hey, you're going to kill the easy stuff, and then like as you do that, you team up and get bigger, build a team. But the other one just was like unorganized.
I mean, I think it just kind of comes down to how quickly your team can do all this stuff. Like I'm not actually not that convinced that the ordering of it really mattered. Maybe I don't know.
I don't. The only thing I have with I like the non-ordered part for like the teams can have different strategies and like they can do different things, but still from a sense of watching the shows, I had no idea who was winning.
Oh yeah, it made it hard to watch for sure.
Yeah.
They did have the most helpful thing though, where they had a diagram that was showing like the completed thing and filling in the progress of everybody's stuff. So like an example is when the tent was raised fully, you saw the full tent. Half raised, it was in progress. The pallets were like showed the progress of the thing. That was kind of cool.
That
Yeah.
was cool.
It was good. It just I wish it was a little less binary. Mostly it was like done or not.
No, there was in-betweens. I noticed the
A little
in-betweens.
Was there a little bit?
It was
Yeah.
it was hard to tell.
It like the pallets I could tell half full and the tent's like half there.
Mm.
Like it's maybe like
You really
Trying to-
needed more for the perimeter because the perimeter seemed like the hardest thing. Took the most
Mhm.
time because it was like really you had to nail these like giant things in.
They had to put the stakes in the ground.
stakes
Yeah.
in like from sand into like the dirt underneath the sand.
That looked very hard.
Everyone was struggling with that,
Yeah.
and like you didn't get a sense of how many were done, how many they had to do.
Mm.
Like, what were the real fucking rules of this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I run into this in the challenge a lot too. It's just like, what are the fucking rules of this thing? Who's winning? We got to do different heats so they can not show who's like.
Yeah.
Just like it's so annoying. It's a competition. Let's put the fucking timer up.
Mm-hmm.
I need someone like walking around commenting on what's happening, or I don't know.
Oh, it would have been good if they had a drill sergeant from the Marines. That would have had some nice drama.
Mm-hmm.
damn.
You know how much I hate football announcers. This needed a football announcer just to be like,
Yeah.
look how close. Though this team's like going ahead, they've got like 12 of their polls in versus 5 of their polls, and like,
Well, that's what Phil should have been doing.
yeah, I know he's
Yeah.
terrible.
Phil would say things
Phil,
that I see. Like, Phil wasn't giving me any more. Like, in the first challenge, I heard Phil say, "She's got the tarp off." Like, and I was like, I can see that. Tell me more.
Look at this. There's good communications happening.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Communications.
it's just like
I need him being like, okay, we got 3 guys trying to put the fence poles in. Like, looks like this guy's having a tough time with it. They have this many more to go. The other team's doing this. Like, I need a lot more commentary.
Yeah. One thing, sorry for a quick sidetrack. So I figured out why Phil is all up on the show. So the first season, they wrap production as COVID's becoming a thing. Like March 2020, they wrap it up. They figure out how to shoot season 2 in the fall of 2020. That's season 2.
Okay.
So they shot season 3 earlier this year, but they can't shoot The Amazing Race yet because it's international and it's too much COVID restrictions. So this is the one horse he's got in the race now.
Okay.
He's got to ride this pony.
How's that Apex sound now, guys?
Oh,
How's that sound? I think Team Noah Annabeth might be coming out ahead.
I mean, it still sounded pretty good that he can still start his own show and like pivot really well.
I don't know. He started the show. He's the guy. This is his show. I don't understand it. Like the Amazing Race is not his show.
We're gonna see what Twitter thinks.
Yeah. Sorry to derail, but I found
Yeah,
it to be a pretty juicy bit.
You're definitely derailing this conversation.
Well, and
I
they've been
know.
cranking out these seasons. That's
Right.
a lot of content coming out pretty quick.
They are pumping, but sorry to
I
track.
don't know
So
if they're not. This is no Mass Singer. Okay.
no,
This is taking some breaks.
they don't have the fake audience they cut to.
They're taking some breaks here.
Yeah.
Like, 3
yeah.
seasons in a year and a half. Like that's
During
Yeah.
it's more than usual, but it's not like you're not breaking any records.
But it just seems like there's more setup for this than Mass Singer, which is all in the same
Maybe they should have taken
building.
some
Definitely more
time
setup.
to
Yeah.
get some good footage or like come up with a better way to show this challenge. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
So they have to put up the fence. They got to get the supplies on the planks, and they got to put the Humvee back together and trail a Humvee.
I have a question for like every single one of these tasks.
Mm.
Okay.
'Kay.
So repair Humvee. What the fuck's wrong with the Humvee?
The
Is there-
tire.
Change a tire.
We saw them change a tire, but was that it?
That was
And
it.
No. So there were 2 Humvees, right? There's one in front, one in the back.
No,
the one in the
back
front.
is the cart.
No. That was the first challenge.
No, they also put it on. There was also
Well, there was
a
like
cart.
there was
there
some
was-
kind of attachment to the second Humvee that I think you're
So the
thinking
second
of as the
Humvee
cart.
was a cart itself. It was a
It
Humvee.
became
the
a cart. There was
cart
like
was-
some
there
kind of
was a
cart
cart-
attachment to drag the second Humvee.
No. It was
It was
just
a
a
cart
Humvee.
converter.
No,
a
it was
Humvee
just
to
a
cart-
Humvee.
It was a Humvee to cart converter.
Why is this becoming more convoluted? It was literally 2 Hummers.
Yeah, but they weren't driving both. They were really driving the front one.
This is part of the challenge. You gotta wait. So there are 2 Humvees, one in front, one in the back. That's how they are positioned. The one in the front, you need to swap out a flat tire, put a new tire on,
But this was not explained to us. They just showed people doing this.
and they explained it a bit, which I
They
can
just
do.
said repair Humvee.
Let me finish this. So you have to replace a tire. Once that is done, you back up the front Humvee to hitch the second Humvee onto
yeah,
the front
because
first
that's
one.
the cart converter.
Yep.
Cart converter.
Well, you hitch a toe. You know, you
Yeah,
there's no
then
cart.
The second Humvee is now a cart.
It's a car. It doesn't transform.
It did just transform.
It didn't.
It's not
Yeah.
driving itself
It's not
anymore.
driving itself anymore.
It's a
no
neutral.
longer a Humvee. It's a cart.
It is still a Humvee. It's a neutral.
It's a cart.
And then you got to drag your cart across the finish line. That's the challenge.
No, well, that's part of it. I'm just saying I have a question about what repairing a Humvee was. I saw them
The tire. Yeah.
replace the tire, but was that it?
Yes.
Because they didn't say what that meant.
And hook the hitch up. I think that was it.
I agree with Chris though. The challenge, as it's explained in the beginning, is just repair the Humvee. I had no idea what was gonna happen.
And then,
Yes.
like real time while it was happening, there was like they gotta change this tire
Right.
and get them hitched together or whatever.
I don't know why
Yeah.
when I was watching this, I didn't even realize they'd have to put up the tent. I thought the tent was a permanent structure. They had to put all this around, and I was like, "Oh, I guess
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense."
It would have
to
been
put up
nice
the tent.
if they had a little like Legends of the Hidden Temple piece in here. You know, like they would show them going through the maze and like the people jumping out, so you knew what was gonna come.
yes.
Yeah.
They got to get some of that. Mark, is it Mark Probst? Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I don't know.
It's
Well, they-
something like that.
Kirk Fogg.
Oh,
Kirk
so
Fogg.
close.
Whoa, that's a deep cut.
So
Kirk,
close.
Did you know that Kirk Frog is the host of
Kirk Fogg.
Frog.
Two
sorry.
G's. I know this because Legends of the Hidden Temple's on Paramount Plus now.
Sometimes we watch it and it's
No.
great.
New
But
or
not the
old?
new one.
Old.
Old.
Original, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get back to that. Anyway, I was gonna say, just like so many questions, like when they set a perimeter, like is there a standard size perimeter? Like what's the size of this perimeter? How do they compare from one side to the other side? How am I supposed to know? I don't understand.
This is fair. It doesn't. I didn't see any like markings in the sand where this thing had to be.
No.
And why are we putting sandbags on this pallet? You're fucking surrounded by sand. I'm so confused. Just take a bag, put sand in it when you need a sandbag.
You got to get your supplies ready. That's
What
the whole point.
supplies?
For the Marines.
Yeah. This is like training. It's an exercise for when you need to really act.
Yeah, I get it. They made it seem like this is what a real Marine exercise would
Right.
be.
Yeah.
I don't know if it actually is a Marine exercise.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah.
Like I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure
no
they
idea.
would explain it better to you when you were doing it. versus
I
us
agree.
watching
They
it.
definitely could have done more to tee it up, but make it clear it's going to happen, and sell more in the Marines hoo-ha of it.
And I'm sure that they did explain more to the people that they had the opportunity to ask them questions, but we didn't really see any of that.
Yeah.
We
No.
need the ask questions segment.
Yeah, we
All right,
really need
pause.
that.
All right, go to Twitter, ask us a question. let's figure this out.
Let's see. People ask Phil on Twitter. Let's see what he's. Up
I
to.
kind of also wanted to know like what tools they had access to for this challenge, like going into it, because like they use tools to fix the tire and like hammer these stakes in, and they get gloves at some point.
The only tools they have are nails. That's it.
No, they have the gloves. For like dealing with the barbed wire, you need that. They had they have this like tube thing with like two handles on it, so then like you can pound down like the sign stakes, which now I realize is how like all these other signs are done. And what other things did they have?
I don't know. I mean, they had like mechanics tools for the car. I just
Oh,
thought that
like
was
the
kind of interesting because
iron.
like this kind of stuff is like oh, you have to have the people on your team that have these specialized skills that know how to use these tools, and maybe like these tools are people know how to use these. But I just thought that was kind of
I don't
interesting.
think any of the things they did were like all that specialized. Like if I tell you, here's the tire iron, go replace this, go like swap out this tire, like it's not that complicated.
No, I know. But I mean, I didn't know what was going to have to happen with this.
Now I feel like it might have been a little complicated to be like, okay, put up this perimeter, like you give me these poles, and I'm like this thing that I was like, I'd have to figure out. Oh, you want me to hammer this pole in with this like. The tool to hammer it in is pretty nuts.
It was cool. I learned about that. That was
Yeah,
pretty
that-
cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
hard to describe. It's just like two handles that they just like you could pull down, you like hammer down to like hammer this pole.
It's
down.
like a big metal tube with a kind of closed top with two handles on either side that you usually just smash down on top of the pole.
Like a cup.
I wonder if there was like a better strategy of using that where like maybe if you like dug a pre-hole, like it would be a lot easier to hammer into the like actual ground versus just hammering in. I can't imagine that would be like the way you would do that.
I have no idea.
Like it just seemed like so much effort.
Yeah.
I think that this is coming around to one of my other comments about this show is that like I'm not tough as nails and I understand that, right? But like I wish I could watch this show and like pick up a couple of tips or skills or knowledge about
Yeah.
maybe how to be a little bit tougher. So
Yeah, you didn't
Yeah.
learn anything in this
no,
show.
no.
There's no like this is
No.
how you replace a
But, like,
tire.
you know,
No.
like for this thing, they could have been like, oh yeah, this thing's called the Smasher, and people use this everywhere to install fence posts, and when you smash it down, it's 6,000 pounds of pressure or whatever. Like, I don't know. I want a little something like that.
I would have loved like I forget what show we watched where they had like there's like a trick you had to figure out how to like repair something. Where like in order to fix the Humvee, you had to go and figure out what was wrong with the Humvee instead of like here was just like, oh, you replace the tire, you're good to go. You know, like that's like not that interesting. Whereas,
That's what I
like,
thought it was going to be too.
yeah,
I
when
thought
they
there was
said
going to be a
repair the
trick.
Humvee, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, figure out what's wrong with the Humvee. Like you get this off this boat and it doesn't work. Like you got to figure out what's wrong with it. Not like
Oh, there's a flat.
There's a flat. I guess that's what's wrong with it.
Well, and like it's like that, and like the big tent they have to put up. I was like, "What's this? How do you put this tent up? What's the problem with the tent? Like, what's hard about putting the tent up? Like, tell me something."
Yeah, nothing was really said how hard anything was.
Yeah, or it's like, the average Marine squadron can put up a 305 tent in 45 seconds
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
totally
still-
agree with Harrison. I want to know what these tools are called. I want to know how it's working. I want to learn a little bit.
I'll give you a tip. You go to TikTok and search for tool tips.
Oh.
You can have all the tool tips you want.
Excellent.
There's millions of tool tips.
Excellent.
They'll teach you way more in 50 minutes than this show ever will.
We need a little History Channel flavor here.
Definitely.
I feel like this is like an episode of Always Sunny where it's like Chris meets TikTok.
Yeah. But you can also find some other great stuff on TikTok, like drinking rules from us.
Yeah, good one. Or YouTube. I actually like YouTube Shorts more than I like TikToks. But anyway, moving on. So the winning team won $12,000 to put in, I guess, like a team bucket that they're gonna split later.
No, he said split it up now. You get 2,000 each.
Yeah, he just handed him a stack of cash, and I think they just started giving the cash to people.
Yeah.
So they're gonna pay taxes on that later.
No,
Come
it's
on.
cash.
Don't worry about
Dude,
that.
it's cash business. You choose whether or
Yeah.
not to report it.
You think the IRS is watching this show, baby?
There's no evidence of this cash.
No evidence.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You're right.
Yeah, that's why you don't see her giving it out to everyone. Just so.
It's all on her.
Yeah, there's no recording.
Then there's you get a badge of honor for winning, and then the team that gets 5 badges of honor first wins a bonus $60,000.
The badge of what was the badge of honor? It was like some kind of large Boy Scout.
It looked like
Badge.
it looked like one of those like commemorative plates.
Yeah,
Kind of.
it did.
Yeah.
I just what was it? What are they gonna do with it? Do they stick them somewhere? Is it
I
a
think
patch?
they wear them like a wrapper.
So
Maybe.
So each of these teams has vans, and one's a black van, and one's a white van, and one's the Dirty Hands van, and one's the Savage Group van.
Dirty hands.
I
That's
think that,
great minutia.
I think that this thing should have been like a big magnetic thing you slap on your team van. You just stack
That'd be
them all up
good.
on the van.
Amazing.
Then somebody can steal them.
Oh man! But you got to have somebody. You got to have somebody on guard at night. That's part of it. You can steal the other team's van.
This isn't a young adult novel. That's not how this works.
I thought maybe they'd all get like patches for their outfits that they wear. I don't know.
They should get like stuff for their helmets. You know, like in like
Oh.
college
Yes.
football, you get the little stickers for good plays.
Except the thing that they bring to all these challenges, kind of weirdly, are these thermoses. They each have like a worksite thermos that they bring with them. They should
Yeah.
get little stickers. For
Yeah.
The thermos.
Are those like they got soup in those thermoses, or they got like some sort of chili? Like
I don't know.
what
It's,
do they got in those?
I don't
There's
know.
thermoses?
chili in the show.
Chris, what would be in your thermos?
I mean, like a soup's a good call. Like in the winter, you might want like in the summer, you might want like a Long Island or something.
Ooh,
so if you're coming up on this challenge, you got your totem soup.
soup or a Long Island, depending on the time of year.
Why was your question not about the Long Island?
I know Harrison was more worried about the soup days than the Long Island days.
I just wonder when you're gonna sit down in this thing to be eating that soup.
I mean,
You can
just-
drink in it.
Done.
It's soup, baby.
yeah, it's mostly like just like a warm broth to warm you up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't here when you're in the like California, obviously not a soup day. So
No.
now you need a Long Island just to loosen yourself
It's a
up
Long
bit.
Island day.
So they're just drinking Long Islands out there, Chris.
Loosen yourself up a bit, you know?
Drinking
This
Long
this
Island.
sounds like a Bones No Bones thing.
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
Drinking Long Island's, changing tires on Humvees. You might get crushed by it.
Should we start off tomorrow being a super LIT day?
Super LIT. It's like, man, Chris is really in a different mood in the summer. He's a lot more sloppy on the work site.
Work takes so much longer during the summer. It's a lot sloppy. Everything is breaking. All right. The one last thing I want to talk about this show before we get more questions is how does this like single competition work? Is it like at the end, episode 11 and 12, or like whatever, is like the winning team gets to compete one-on-one, or is it like all 12 of them get to compete?
Mystery.
Or is it like, do people get Brian mentioned eliminations? Like,
yeah. People
so
are getting
is there
eliminated.
less people? So there's less than 12 people?
I don't think you can have the disaster that was the first challenge again. Like, you don't get a redo after that. You're done.
I just thought at the beginning of this, the host said no
Oh.
one gets eliminated.
No, that's it. I figured it out. So they said that, and then they said, look, we can't deal with this guy announcing anymore. So we need to go.
Maybe there's like a tribal council.
Maybe.
I can
Maybe.
see that for this show.
Maybe there's just like, okay, you're still on the team, but you're not in the final, like, you know,
Yeah, maybe.
Ooh.
final thing anymore.
I think when you get voted out, then the dude just takes your thermos and dumps it on the ground.
Well, I saw that they called it punching out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Like that.
Wow.
I did see that too. It's yeah, I'm very confused how this single winner works.
I mean, it's just assumed that you've seen every season.
We're just going to have to watch more and find out.
Get back to us, Brian.
It does say like punched out third, punched out. Yeah.
Punched
Yeah.
out.
That is a clever gimmick. I'm glad they spent their budget on coming up with that.
But is there a trap door that they fall through? How do they leave the work site? I gotta know.
Presume. Chris, you got questions for us?
Yeah, let's get into some questions.
Questions.
What do you think the production schedule of the show is like?
I have no idea how long this show goes.
I mean, I think that they shot this whole episode that we saw in a day.
Oh, easy.
Yes.
Easily.
Well, Noah's told us how many seasons have come out on a certain time frame, so we've got some clues.
Yeah, basically in the past year or so, year plus, they've shot 2 seasons.
Year and a half. You said that they filmed the first one right before COVID.
Correct. And they shot season 2 in the fall of 2020. So that's what I mean. Like roughly past year plus, they've shot 2 seasons.
Well, I mean, the show easily filmed in like 3-4 weeks. Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe like a
Um,
month, 6 weeks.
There are 10
No
episodes.
way is this 6 weeks.
10 episodes? Okay.
Yeah, 10 episodes.
4 weeks seems good.
Unless they do some sort of challenge at the end, there's no way this is taking more than like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alright.
if they have some days off for testimonials or getting stuff set up, I could see 3 weeks.
Yeah,
To
I
rest
mean,
their
there's-
broken bodies.
there's just some logistics involved in setting up these challenges in various like work sites that I think would be challenging to do, like back to back to back to back to back to back. You know, I think that there's probably some rest days in there somewhere.
I hope there's some rest days.
We just don't get to see those unless there's some challenge level drama happening at club
I
night. Supposed to have some
know.
sort of club night.
I'm
Ooh.
worried that there's not going to be a lot of club
Club
night on
night.
this show.
I think you should be worried about club. I don't think that's a thing.
Unless it depends on what's in the thermos. That changes everything about this
Yeah,
show.
next episode. What's in your thermos?
I mean, I feel like like after the job is done, they should be able to take their 12 grand to the bar and
Yeah.
just throw a few back, you know?
This would be a perfect show to be also sponsored by like Budweiser, and they're kicking back with some cool
Yeah.
cans at the end of the job.
But do
I
they
like
want to
that.
be associated with the Marines like that?
Hmm.
Do the Marines want to be associated with alcohol? I feel like the
Yeah,
military
they
doesn't really go near alcohol.
The people in the military do.
People in the military are very different than the brands.
Are you allowed to drink when you're in the military? I mean,
yes.
certainly not when you're
Yeah.
on duty.
Yeah,
Oh,
when
yeah,
you're not
yeah.
when you're off duty,
Yeah.
100%.
You know,
know.
You've never seen military people at a bar before.
Yeah, I mean, I have. I mean, I guess they're off duty at that point.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's get to our next question. Who's the worst human being in this episode of TV?
Not a lot of bad human beings in this show, does it seem like?
No. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think an answer could be the host for how bad he's doing.
That's the only one I got.
I'm
Or,
gonna
like-
go with. Sorry.
Oh, no, go on.
I'm gonna go with anyone last week on Bridalplasty.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think DeBrow still holds it for me.
I mean, I give another nomination, like one of the two captains that, like, let the women of color go last.
It's a good one. I think that maybe whoever decided to try and trick us, that they dropped that stuff out of a plane. That's a pretty bad person.
The editors.
Yeah.
The editors.
The editors of the show. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think the person's got to be the host for just he's the executive producer. You can blame anything that's wrong with the show on him, so I'm blaming him. It's a weak pick this week, though. There's not.
Yeah.
There's no real reason for that.
No.
Let's do. What do we got? Let's do. Would the show be better as a Quibi?
I don't think so, because we keep ragging on the show for not going into enough detail and helping us to understand different things. And so the Quibi's only going to make that even more hard to do. So I'm going to go no Quib.
I think you could turn this into a Quibi if you turned it more into like a home improvement. Like there's this one challenge. There's like a crack in your bathroom. Go fix it.
Mhm.
Like there's like you could do one of these challenges as a quick like 8-minute thing, 7-minute thing, but it would be a different show.
Yeah.
Be a different show.
Let's do one of our new questions.
Oh.
One of our new questions here for you. One thing you love about the show.
Oh.
All right, Brian. What's one thing you love about the show?
This is actually something I was going to talk about with the drinking rules. The amount of positivity in this show is really awesome. So during the first challenge, there were a lot of people getting stuck near the end, probably due to people just backing up after the finish line, because why would you go further? And everybody just got and like helped like pull them across the finish line, because like you didn't need to deal with that challenge. Like it's just you're there, just get across. And that was awesome. That like it just didn't matter about the competition, even though they already knew it was over. It's just, hey, let's help each other out.
Yeah, it's good. Harrison, what do you got?
I mean, I just think that the way that it showcases and kind of celebrates the skills that all these people have is like just really cool. I mean, because there's obviously a lot of like super useful, super valuable, really cool stuff that they're doing. And yeah, there's just not a lot of stuff that just kind of celebrates some of this, so it's cool.
Annabeth?
I was gonna say about the same as Brian. I feel like everybody really is like very supportive of each other. When everybody introduces themselves at the beginning and says what their job is, like there's a lot of like support and enthusiasm for it. So I thought that was cool.
Mr. Noah Singer.
You got to learn some things, despite y'all saying don't get to learn anything. If I'm on ATV, I know I got to put that thing in neutral to start it.
Well, where is neutral?
That's another question.
I like the tone of the show is really good. I like Brian is right. I think that the positivity really exudes. Like the show is a negative, I think I would hate it. Like because we complain about the challenges, but like I don't like. We'll get to it. I don't hate the show, but like I think that's because of the tone of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mhm.
we could nitpick all of our problems with the show, which aren't really nitpicks; they're real issues. But the positivity, I think, is one to look into this.
Yeah,
Sorry
it
to-
carries it.
Sorry to steal yours, Brian, but yeah, it was great.
Don't worry, it's great.
Another new one. Who's gonna hook up next?
Oh man,
Oh.
this is a twist on this show.
Yeah, that's just a joke. No, I don't think we're going to see anyone hooking up on here at all. Let's do drinking rules. Brian seemed to be ready with the drinking rules, so why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, it was just going to be when you see a good amount of positivity, like people doing something helpful for one another, just cheers and take a drink.
I got a great one. Anytime you see anyone strain their muscles,
Oh yeah.
take a drink. Noah?
Anytime someone says a word, you don't know what it means, take a drink.
Annabeth?
I was gonna do very similar to Noah. Every time someone does something that your body cannot do.
What
Yep.
what is a word you did not know, Noah, that they brought up?
There were they talked about some things in the military. Like I probably could put it in context, or like you're talking about parts on the farm. Like I don't really know.
Like,
exactly.
are you saying like you didn't know what like an X305 tent was?
The Mr.
No.
305 tent?
No idea.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah, Pitbull tent.
Harrison, what do you got for me?
I don't know. Mine was kind of similar to Annabeth's, and just like anytime somebody does something that's just beyond my skill set, I'm just gonna cheers them and drink to it.
I don't think this was very applicable for this episode, but I think going forward, anytime someone doesn't know what they're doing, take a drink.
Mm.
I think that's going to happen when they have to do some weird, like real skill stuff that not everyone has. Brian,
I got another one. That's actually a fun one. When you see them driving a vehicle that you've never driven before, drink.
Yeah, that's a good one.
for every cart, take a drink.
Yeah,
I was
Every
just gonna
card.
say that. You stole it. That was gonna be the next one.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
All right.
okay.
I think that's it for. We have one last
No,
question.
I got one more drinking rule.
Okay. Give it
Every
to us,
time
man.
you see a thermos, take a drink.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's there it
Yep.
is.
Like
That's
it.
a good one.
That's a good one. Anytime the vans show up,
Finish your drink.
Anytime anyone says dirty hands.
that's a good one. I liked it. Anytime they say their team name or like they give like a team chant.
Yeah, I like the team
that'd
chant.
Be a good one.
Every time you see a badge come out.
At what point during this segment do we say, please drink responsibly?
Remember.
Oh, actually, one piece of minutia that ties into the drinking thing we didn't talk about is that the Murph brought this like WWE type of belt that you receive when you win.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It made me wonder, like, how often do you receive that type of belt for winning something outside of wrestling?
0.
Yeah.
Side tangent. Did he just bring that belt just to show off? Like, why did he bring that belt?
Because so you know he's the winner.
You can tell us.
What
like,
el-
why-
where else do you wear that belt to, Brian? You think he's wearing that as everyday belt?
I guess it's fair. Like, put him in the picture, but like, why did he just need to bring it? Like, he could also just been wearing
What else you can do with that belt?
Just wear it and then take it off. Like, you didn't need to like place it down and just be like, oh, like this is a prize or something.
It is a prize.
Is
He
it?
didn't win it.
Yeah.
Well, in
No,
my-
he won it. He still has it. He did not lose in season 2.
I mean, there's another one for the winner.
Yeah.
Season 3.
Okay.
But like,
yeah.
if you won season 1, the only thing you could do with that belt is like have it like up on your wall or bring it to the
To show it off.
Show off next season.
Like, do you wear that around anywhere?
Yeah,
Like,
you wear it here. You wear it.
No
I know, he should have worn it.
No, nobody wears those belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one ever wears it. It's always over the shoulder. That's why it's even a belt.
It's not a belt. It's an over the shoulder thing.
Yeah.
People do wear it sometimes. Like, they wear it around the waist. It's probably like 30 to 25% of it. I haven't watched wrestling in a while. Anyway, every time you see the belt, take off your belt and enjoy a drink for being more comfortable.
What do you think is a better trophy? That belt or the Taskmaster like statue thing?
Belt.
Brian?
Belt.
I think Brian's got the best opinion. I don't even know really what the Taskmaster statue thing is, and the wrestling belt's pretty dope.
I think the statue. I'd rather have that statue in my house than that belt. Like the belt seems a little generic.
But like, you just bust that out on like NFL Sunday, and it's great.
I mean, the belt is not bad. I didn't say it was bad.
No, I
just
know.
think it's like in terms of like if you had that giant belt around your house somewhere, I would think that you just got a replica WWE belt. Like it's not like a unique thing.
But it's mobile. You can wear it to the bar.
Exactly. I
Are
can't
you
bring
going to
that-
bring a trophy?
No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. It could be like beneficial
Oh.
in some sort of like other direct way, you know.
It's at least you have something that could actually hold your vaccine card. They can just like put it on there, so instead of having to have this awkward thing in your wallet,
You
just
on the-
walk around, pop in the front.
You gonna put a pocket on this thing? What the
No,
fuck
just
do you
tape
mean?
it. Just tape it. You're fine.
Like, it's cool that this is a wrestling belt, but I think that for the show, it should have also been a tool belt. So you could wear it.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes!
Oh.
Why aren't you the producer on the
Yes!
show?
We gotta start
Harrison?
making
Oh
reality
my
shows.
god.
We really gotta start producing these things. I think
I think so too.
we've seen enough.
I'm gonna one up you and build on it there, Harrison. So, tool belt. What you can do with the wrestling belt, flip it around so the big part is in the back, and now it becomes the back support. Oh.
So my other thought was like, can this be used as a weightlifting belt?
Oh.
that-
Ooh.
Like,
Right.
I mean, the back is also
Same
a great
thing.
way.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you got the
You
tools
do-
on the side, back support in the back.
I love it.
Maybe we should just sell a belt like that.
I think people would love that. If they could have a tool belt that's like a wrestling belt,
It's pretty cool.
or even a gym. Yeah,
That
one
is
for
a
the
back
gym.
support belt. I
Also, a
don't
back
know.
support belt.
What
Also,
kind
it has a personal massager for your lower
what,
back.
What kind of tool is wearing this with a wrestling belt front?
Hey, Sharks. Have you ever been
Hey,
on a job
Sharks.
site?
I am definitely running up to every job site like that. It's just a fun one. Like, honestly, novelty belts like that. Oh my God.
But-
Yes.
We got it. This is a. We can do a good Kickstarter here.
Okay. All right.
If we get started now, by next Christmas season, we'll have a little bit of sales going. We'll kind of know a bit of the target market.
we
we'll
could
hit
be
it
on Shark
hard.
Tank.
If we get on Shark Tank, that's it. We gotta walk away.
That's
we won.
it.
We won.
No, we got to do Shark Tank the next season because then because we're always going to ask about what are the sales, and you go in there with this type of thing, you have no sales, they're going to laugh at you.
Yep.
If you go in, oh, but last Christmas we did this, they're going to be like, now
Getting
now
on
we're
Shark
talking.
Tank is a years long process.
I'm in as long as we can call the company who put this belt on.
Oh.
All right. Let's
That
do
is good.
let's do it on our ratings. So we do a stack ranking system compared to other reality shows. We do top, middle, bottom, third. You can vote on our polls on Twitter. Some people stack rank in their stack ranks. Brian, what do you got for me?
I've been debating this entire time whether I'm going to put it in the top of the middle or the bottom of the top. I think that host aside, like this show really did something for me, and I do want to watch more. So then I guess it has to go on the top. But I've also not really fulfilled those.
That is not a rule.
It's not. But then I also think about like some of the shows where I've talked about that. And I'm like, I haven't really done that either this season. So
So you're going to put it in the top, middle of the top.
no, it's definitely bottom of the. It's
You-
bottom of the top.
Okay, bottom of the top. All right,
Yeah.
just clarifying. Harrison, what do you got for us?
It's definitely borderline for me, but I think this is going to be a middle third show. I'm interested to watch like another episode and see kind of how it improves because I do like the concept of it. But I think that there were just some things about the execution that made it not as good as it could have been. But I definitely want to see another one.
Annabeth.
I think this is right in the middle for me because I did like watching this show. I don't know if I'm dying to watch more of it, and maybe it's kind of the military theme in this one was maybe not my favorite theme, and maybe that I didn't know any of these characters, but I think it's right in the middle.
Mr. Noah Singer, what do you got for me?
Yeah, I think the show deserves to be a bottom show because it's really not that entertaining, all things considered. Like, I don't think there's any motivation to go watch another one. That said, it is not bottom relative to a lot of junk that we happen to put on. So it is middle for those reasons, but it's bottom of the middle. There's a lot of opportunity. They can make this more engaging, more like wanting to watch next show, but they don't, and for those reasons, middle, bottom of the middle.
Thank you. Max was here and he watched the show with us. Bye, Max.
Bye, Max.
Max.
He said top third,
Oh!
bottom of the top. The jingoistic patriotic shit just leaves a weird taste in my mouth.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hell of a review.
you go.
That's the full review.
Final words from Max.
Yeah.
Putting that shit on Rotten Tomatoes tonight.
He'll still be on the pod occasionally, I think, but he
Yeah, he will.
He'll take some time off for now. Anyway, I agree that this is really a middle third show, but I feel like we've been a lot of watching a lot of hot garbage, and this was not hot garbage. So I'm gonna put it on the top. Whatever.
Ooh.
I think the challenges could be better, and I would give another episode or two a try to see if they fix that problem because I think it's fixable. And the fact that we had two, like the first episode can be a little weird with this weird Marine commercial, which I was also not a huge fan of. I agree, Annabeth. Like it's really close to being middle third, but I'm going to put it in the top. Final word. That's what we got for us. Vote in our polls on Twitter. Tell us what you think of this show.
Tell us.
Tell us.
Tell us.
All right, Brian, give us your shout out of, and why is it about Legends of the Hidden Temple, the new version?
Yeah, so that's back, and now it's with adults instead of children. And I gotta say, watching it like this, I don't think it's as fun.
Ooh.
So it's all the same stuff. It's a lot of people failing at these like stupid tasks, but it's adults instead of kids. And with kids, I'm really rooting for them. Like they could be messing up super hard, but I'm like, go! I want you to crush this. People, I'm like, I don't care.
But you do want to see them fall and hit their head somewhere.
The kids or the adults?
The adults.
Yeah.
You obviously don't want to see that.
That yeah.
Like
I'm okay with that.
Wipe Out the show. That's why people watch Wipe Out. That's why people watch
Totally.
Nailed It. Don't watch Nailed It. But
I
that's
agree.
why people watch that stuff.
But like, okay, so for example, the ending thing where like you're moving through the maze and it's like, oh, here's this like guard and you got to give him the token, and as a kid, like watching it, and it's like, oh my god, you gotta escape, give him the token, and with an adult, it's just like, oh, I'm searching in these like cargo pants for it, and it's less climactic.
Okay, I have 3 questions for you about this. First, is Kirk Fogg the host?
No,
Who's the host?
I don't remember. It is a woman. And also Olmec.
Okay, that was my second question. Is Olmec involved?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
back.
Did
That-
he age at all?
No, he actually aged very nicely.
Oh, good. Okay.
Olmec or Fog?
Third question. What do the prize packages look like? They had some great
Okay.
prize packages back in the day.
Okay, so I will say that like this is the greatest part of it. So after you lose the first elimination, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're not leaving here empty-handed. You're leaving here with your T-shirt." And it's a team T-shirt. The second one was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm getting some stuff," and it also included a T-shirt that was like, "I lost at this challenge." Like,
Oh
I can't
my
remember the name of
God.
it.
At the steps of knowledge.
Yeah, so that's also amazing. The prize packs are kind of good, but I don't think that they're maybe up to the adult level. I'm trying to remember like the final ones.
Okay.
Of course, like the final thing is like cash and whatnot, but
Gotcha. All right.
Harrison, what's your shout out this week?
Oh man, I'm not really sure if I have a big shout out this week. Challenge All Stars Season 2 started, which, you know, it's all right.
Who's
you
on it?
started it?
It's the Champions Tour, yeah. So I mean, there's, you know, it's a lot of those kind of classic people. I mean, you got Derek and Darrell and a bunch of the
Bananas?
kind of old school. Bananas is definitely not in this. There's no Bananas. There's no CT.
Because CT's in the regular
Yeah.
one.
I know
Yeah.
for sure.
Well,
This is definitely the Champions Tour, yeah.
Bananas is doing other things. CT's, yeah.
Why do you keep saying champions?
Oh, I guess
Well,
no.
because in golf, that's what they call the senior tour, and after you're too old to be in the regular tour, they call it the Champions Tour. I'm not saying
But
these people
not
are
all
actually
the people are
champions.
champs.
Hey, you gotta take it up with the USGA.
I don't care what they do. I don't care what you're calling these challenge people.
I guess-
I mean, it was great though because Annabeth and I watched one of the classic challenge seasons on Paramount Plus in like a week because it just goes super fast. Like we're saying, there's 2 challenges, 2 eliminations per episode.
Incredible.
Which is really
it's
great.
incredible. They have a format
Incredible.
for their show. It's incredible.
It's incredible. So we knew a bunch of the people because we'd watched one kind of that era, which is cool.
Is this a commercial for Paramount Plus?
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Paramount Plus is pretty good service though. Like Nickelodeon, Challenge,
Star Trek Discovery's
Tough
back now.
as Nails.
It's true. The show is on there.
Yeah.
Brian, you have another shout out, or are you good this week?
No, like Star Trek Discovery is now back on.
Okay,
So now, but that's an advertisement for Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Boom.
Annabeth, what is your
Wow.
what is your advertisement for Paramount Plus?
I enjoy Legends of the Hidden Temple OG version. Incredible on Paramount Plus.
As well as Guts.
And Guts, yeah. We have watched a good amount of Guts. These things they make these kids do, these obstacle courses, these biking around the track, these water challenges are amazing.
Is Wild and Crazy Kids on there too?
Not sure. We haven't seen that one, but I would say that Mike O'Malley would make an incredible host of the show that we watched today.
My shout out this week is I've been rewatching The Witcher on Netflix.
Oh.
It's very good. Season 2 is coming out in December, so you can catch up before season 2 if you want. Mr. Noah, do you have a
Yeah.
shout out this week?
I've been getting really into the OxyContin pandemic, and so
Ooh, there was a final word there.
I was like,
Go
you're
on.
really into this Oxycontin.
yeah, so almost done with the audiobook Empire of Pain. It's also a real book if you choose to read it, which seems like a pain in the ass. But so I'm listening to that, which is quite good, and then watching the show Dope Sick on Hulu, which is really about the same thing. And some reason I'm watching both because I find that storyline entertaining. If you don't know about the background, TLDR, there's a family called the Sacklers. They're like the guy that kind of creates the family, basically creates how to market drugs in America, which is fascinating and kind of ingenious, but ultimately leads to a lot of people dying from heroin. So take from it what you will.
There you go. I think you did a really good TLDR there. You really went deep dark there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Outside of here, some people watch Guts. Some people go into pandemics. You know.
Some
You know-
people
Get
some
into the
people are just
Oxycontin.
real deep and dark. That's where I got. That's what I got.
I just put a hold of my local library to get the audiobook.
Yeah, it's quite good, but not everything I do is so serious. You know, I also am a continual watcher of Hot Ones. I still watch it. I still enjoy it.
When are we doing another Hot Ones challenge? now?
Oh, we should. Man, it's so fun. But they're still entertaining. I'm surprised the shtick really keeps up, and it does.
Well, there you have it. Hot Ones. It's a good shtick.
It is.
You can find us on TikTok at Who Put This On Podcast. You can find us on Twitter and answer our polls and yell at us at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On, where you can yell at Noah for not having polls on Facebook. And you can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Sponsored by Crypto.com. Or at least we want to be sponsored. Give us the Bitcoin.
Crypto, talk to us.